Mhm.
There we go. So yeah, started.
Question. Uh, have you gotten any kind of like a feedback or words or discussion or anything from other people that hasn't been in these meetings? I guess Tim was here a bit, but um, any input from other people?
Mostly people. There were a few people that messaged me back when we kind of get started, and they kind of didn't think, they wanted to be a part of anything. So nothing really necessarily positive. Randy joined at one point for a short time and then dropped out of the call. I don't know, probably lost interest.
Yeah, because it's kind of interesting to kind of beep the sonar a bit and see if people are even, I mean, maybe they're not interested in trying to make it happen, but would they be maybe interested in kind of going along with it, or positive to the idea of kind of structure and organization happening, and would kind of appreciate it in the future, even if they're not wanting to spend energy on it, making it happen now. Like that's because if nobody wants this and everybody's going to resist, then it's going to be futile kind of anyways. But I don't know.
Well, I think your suggestion really makes sense, that we kind of have this pathway. What is it? The transitional pathway that will give all the owners currently a membership. I think they're much more likely to accept that. I mean, who would kind of resist it? It doesn't really make sense. Why would somebody not want that? Maybe they wouldn't want another person to have membership, but if it's kind of like, well, all or nothing, everyone, and then now, yeah, if we define all the details of what it takes to kind of keep the membership, then in whatever time frame, I guess in a year or whatever we decide, then we'll be left with the people that are actually interested in continuing being a member.
Yeah, I hope it will work out well, uh, especially maybe initially for like a Food Heaven 1 and 2, I suppose, right? And then if it works well and we can adapt to the other projects, then yeah, hopefully it will kind of be a way of having some more order and stuff and making things work.
Yeah, that would be also my expectation. So I think when we have a like things sorted out, the most critical ones at least, and we have a base of how to make decisions and who can and who can't and so on and so forth, all of this sorted out, I think there will be already like a more general harmony and people will know how things work, and then more people might join over time. They might explore it at some point and then they see, oh, okay, it's a lot better. And now we're going into certain directions here. That's really good. I'm not wasting my time, so to say. I don't know if it was before like this, but yeah. And then maybe people want to join more. That would be amazing. Um, let's see. Are we ready for today? I would like to also say a sentence about our motivation here, keeping the motivation up. I want to say again, it's super great that we have this core of people that always joins here, and I think we're making really good progress. It doesn't seem like this because we're still working on the membership states and the roles, but we're already looking into really important related things too. So this big topic about owners and members and decision making and processes. We're looking in all of these things already that are also very important. And I think once these things are sorted out, we can proceed much faster on other things too, because this is the groundwork, the foundational stuff. And yeah, good work, everyone. And if you're ready, I would suggest that I share my screen again so everyone can see what we're doing and talk about what we can maybe do today. So I'm sharing my screen now. If anyone has problems, let me know. So the idea for today would be we see how far we get, but if we get through everything, I would say we look into these highlighted things that people edited. Also, we have some comments here on the side. We can go through them, and then if we have more time, we can also look into filling out this table. This is almost done. Here are 2 things missing, and then we would be actually done already with the membership state. We can also think about reducing this proposal. You can all see here, this is one proposal, but it contains a lot of things. Maybe we can take out a few things. We can talk about this. Maybe in this entire thing about the transitional membership pathway, it's very important and it's very related to each other, and that's good. But I think it's easier to vote and to agree on portions of it instead of the entire thing. So we can think about this. And I also created this part. It's a new tab here on the left. I would like to introduce that. It's an idea, it's a suggestion. So it's all like example draft state. So nothing concrete at the moment, but I've been observing now that there's a kind of a confusion about what is even full membership. What can they decide? What is participation? Like, what are these people even doing? Yeah, full members. So, and I think participation is the core thing that defines what full members are doing. So they can participate in community governance. And what does it mean to participate? So this is one thing, and the other thing is what are owners and trustees doing? What is their responsibilities? What's the definition of that? So we can look into this after, maybe. But it's very important, I think, too, to get some clearance, some clarity about it. I also created this part. You can all see it. We can look into it later more in detail, but just roughly now. I also have here this separation of left side community governance. These are the full members and trial members, what they're doing and examples of what they're doing. Then on the right side, ownership and trustees, decisions, what they're doing, what they're for, what examples are there from what they're doing. And there's also an overlap of both worlds. So what do they need to decide together? So I think once that is very clear, now going back to the membership states, maybe this last part here that is marked here in orange gets dissolved a little bit and clearer to everyone, because here we want to define what participation in government even means, and maybe some owners now that exist that don't even want to really participate in the community because they might want to still have decision power, yes, and that's absolutely fine. But going back now to the Miro board, more on the right side of things, no, on this part where it's about the properties themselves and infrastructure, I think financial decisions, all these sort of things, and they maybe don't even want to be included in the left side of things where it's about how to live together, the culture, the values, the governance processes, all these things. So that might get some clarity into this, and yeah, just wanted to mention and give a rough overview. And if you're all ready, we could, as I said first, we could go through these highlighted things first, go step by step, and once we're here on the bottom, we can maybe talk again about what I just briefly showed you about this differentiation. Okay, everyone on board and ready?
Let's go.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have here the first green highlighted thing. I think green is Boris. I was blue, light blue. So he just added here the 350 days instead of only saying 1 year. I think that's fine. If no one objects, I will just remove this color.
I think that was saying remove the year, but maybe both could be like 1 year or 365, and maybe even put the specific dates, you know, once we get the proposal, I guess.
Exactly. Sounds good. Okay. Then I will just mark this comment as true because it's fine. Then we have the first thing already. Yeah, the second thing is fulfill the following specified requirements. I was striking through this part here, following the standard process of becoming a full member. So it was, I think, in the beginning here when we started talking about it, it was about the standard process, things that already people knew, and here we became, here we got into an area that was that felt very specific. So if you agree with me, what I did here with striking this through and saying like fulfill the following specified requirements, I think that's more real, right? Yes, no?
It's good. Doesn't seem like a big difference, just wording, I think, yeah.
Exactly. It's only about like not saying the standard process. It's about like these specific points that we list there. If it would be the standard process, we wouldn't have to list anything here anyways, no? I guess, because that would be somewhere else. Okay, good. Okay, then I will just remove that. No objections. So I guess it's fine. Sorry, someone wants to say something?
I think it was more just a specific process, you know, kind of like a special circumstance. Yeah, just because we're starting this new system or whatever.
Okay. Good. Okay, then we have the completing of the 101 consensus, passing the associated quiz, completing, reviewing a non-violent communication video, and then here completing a sociocracy video. Not sure if I added this. I think someone else used my color, but that's okay. That's totally fine. And yeah, if there are no objections, we can also take that. I'm giving a few seconds. Someone wants to say something about it. Okay. Yeah. Then I will include this. Yeah. No, someone.
It's not like directly related to what we're talking about now, but I know myself. It's better if I speak up now before I just forget about it again. And this is this full membership, like to be a full member, applicant, trial member, full member, and then when you are no longer active, then you are no longer like a full member. I wonder if, and I'm not speaking from my perspective, but from the perspective of someone who was kind of not active and no longer a full member. It's like a I think it might be a bit stigmatizing in a way, like the term full member, but instead have a term like a active member. And then when you're not active or following the kind of requirements anymore, then you become an inactive member, for example, or something like that, or active member we have. But instead of calling it just a full member, an active member.
Okay. Yeah. So it's only about the wording of the full instead of like active. We can actually remove it also if you like. We can make it just member.
And might be good to kind of talk about it. But I'm the kind of guy who juggles like the million pieces of the puzzle, no matter how insignificant they may seem. But I think it might help, bringing in people who feel like they are not really part of it and participate.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Any objections to this? Then we can just remove the full everywhere. I would suggest.
I
Yeah,
think Nick.
actually,
I like the active and versus inactive. Those are good words. They're less stigmatizing.
But currently we don't have this separation between active and inactive. An inactive member is an exited member. You can either be a member or you can be not a member. That is basically active and inactive. These two here, the last ones, 3 and 4.
yeah, I think if we have, for example, if I guess what they're saying is they want to say active member, inactive member. I think an inactive member, it sounds like you're still kind of a member, you're just not active. Whereas exited kind of is like you were exited or external. I like that more because in some cases, maybe they have to go through a whole process again to kind of become a member.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy, it shouldn't be like too easy of a process. Like we kind of want to be selective about who is an actual member and who is not.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, and what do you say, Boris, about removing the full member? I think that makes sense, no? What do you think?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me too much if it's okay. We have a trial member and then just a member. Although full does kind of sound nice because it's like, well, you're a full member and gives you like full whatever rights and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe we can revisit and think about it some more later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's also not about perfection here. I want to add here also, this is just the first proposal. And we're not working on like the Mona Lisa. We're still working on like a sketch of the Mona Lisa, and we want to agree all that this is a really good base to paint at the end in maybe 10 years or in 5 years, the perfect Mona Lisa. Okay. So just want to mention this as well. So we don't go too deep into these things. We can change them. But still, I think it's a good point, and we can still quickly remove it. If there are no big objections, that's fine. Okay, if we see it somewhere again, we will remove it, and we will keep it with member then. Okay, good. Then
Yeah, can I just add?
Yes.
I think it's
add something.
yeah, like you said, we're not doing the Mona Lisa now, and I 100% understand and agree. But this with the active member, it also like it puts something into it, like active member, you know, instead of just a full member, or that might be a bit stigmatizing if you're not, or get like a kind of thrown out or become inactive and or something, whatever. But this active member has some more like a meaning to it also than just member, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, the only contradiction would be then, as we already said, that if there's an active member, then you probably also need an inactive member. And what is an inactive member? We talked about already about membership suspension. That would be an inactive member, but then we decided that there should be no suspension. Sorry?
That would be an exited member in if we follow this.
Exactly.
So I think that's okay. Like,
yeah.
So it can go from an active member to an exited member, for example. I don't think that's like a contradiction or anything.
Yeah, I follow that. It's true. It's true. It's instead of saying full member, better just say active member. It means the same thing. Okay, the definition is still there, but it's just the stigmatization of it does matter because.
Okay, so we added active.
Connecting.
Active member.
Sorry, did you? Am I getting through, or it keeps cutting on my end?
I think it was cutting out.
Everyone a bit cut.
But I think, yeah, okay, that's fine. Active or full or just member, I think they're all kind of
just the wording.
Kind of fine. Yeah, even just members fine. Anyway, let's see. I think we have some interesting things to to develop in terms of, yeah, the main thing is like what the process for basically remaining a member, and then yeah, where were we?
Yeah. So here the next point would be accumulating at least 3 months of non-sequential physical presence within the community or near area, including private lots in Fruithaven within the last 10 years. So this green we need to talk about. Let's talk about this first here. Do you want to explicitly include or exclude that it needs to be a person, or can it be done by a representative? Needs to be in person or done by representatives. I think Nick mentioned this last time, and I added this comment here just to bring it up again. You want to include that or exclude representatives?
A good question. I think if someone's becomes a member, they should have at least 3 months of in person, and not just maintained by whoever and accumulated over, let's say, like that's what the next part where I said within the last 10 years, like it's pretty reasonable to have at least 3 months within 10 years.
I agree with that.
The only thing that contradicts with this 10 years is that we say here they have 1 year to fulfill the following requirements, and then we say here, no, it can be 10 years actually, not 1 year.
Okay, so what I meant, okay, I see I see your point, but I think maybe we need to make a separation. So what we know that people didn't do for sure is like they didn't complete this quiz for the Consensus 101 and watching the nonviolent. Like maybe somebody did watch it, and maybe we should even make a quiz for that and the sociocracy. Whereas the 3 months is something like that they may have already completed within the last 10 years. And then maybe if they didn't, then they have a 1 year this year to kind of decide, like, do they want to come and be here at least 3 months out of a year or not, and then, so that's kind of where I think we can separate, it's like tasks that they need to accomplish within the next year. And in some cases, they might have already done that. So, because
like this,
if we say, it would get confusing too. Like, okay, for example, if we do this, I don't know, let's say whenever it passes, and then I go on vacation for a few months, so it's like that means that I would still have to come back and be 3 months, and then it becomes a member. Kind of that part is confusing because it's like, well, I've already lived here for 7 years. Basically, it's like last 10 years I lived here for 7 out of those 10. It's like, well, so it kind of like that's like something where it's maybe already fulfilled, and so it's like, okay, it's done. If someone hasn't been here even a single day or something. But anyway, those are my ideas. What do you guys think, Rob, Nick?
Yeah, it was this question about like if you're developing your land and having someone working on it for you in your place, then and you're busy with your career, whatever. It's that question also. So that kind of ties into this. But other than that, I think, yeah, I mean, it's very reasonable to expect that within the last 10 years, you would have stayed there 3 months. I mean, I've had a lot of trouble kind of getting my ass over there, but I still have, 3 months. So.
Okay, can I ask a question in between? I think it's a very important one that I'm also tackling here in this Miro board. And I want to ask, like, what is your understanding for what a active member decides about? What are they deciding generally? What is the power and the responsibility of an active member?
Yeah, this is actually where it becomes most interesting, that it might even deter some people from wanting to become, let's say they don't fulfill viewing the videos or doing the in person. And then we need to also emphasize that it doesn't take away any of their ownership or any of that. Like there's nothing would change. It's just a very specific thing of being a member that
But what did they decide about? Like, can you tell me some examples what you would expect a group of active members would decide upon?
Question.
Is it not a test or something? I would just like to hear your opinion, your feeling about it, whatever comes to mind.
Generally, what comes to my mind is basically the rest of the Arcos layers. So when it comes to what were the other layers? Yeah, like the purpose, the maybe looking again at the vision if we want to change anything. I don't know, domestic animal policy, things in the past we've discussed, and it was kind of hard to deal with. Some owners were just saying no agreement, not agreeing, and not really cooperating, not really helping figure out how to make some policy for domestic animals. And so yeah, things I think like that. Basically, that's my thinking. What about you guys?
Yeah, interesting. Thank you for sharing.
I think primarily, practically speaking, it's about budget allocation. So the part that we contribute the money to, what like the active members should decide on what is going to be used on and how the infrastructure is going to be developed.
Okay, thank you. Someone else?
I have a question also with this. I'm sorry if it gets like just complicated, but we're talking about active or full members now, but non-owners can also be active full members, right? So
that's right.
But there would be a distinction between those, an owner member and a non-owner member. Very clear distinctions. So
yes,
yeah,
that's where I would like to go with this question exactly. So getting back to the question, what do you think, Rob? Would be the responsibility of an active member?
It's like voting on, for example, or participating in plans for maintenance, community areas, roads, and participating in the work, of course, and all these things, like kind of governing the community, basically. But I also think that maybe owners have, for example, in certain questions, when it comes to infrastructure, it can be water systems or roads, for example. Maybe the owners would have like 2 votes, for example, when a member has 1 vote or something like that. I don't know what you guys think, but they have like a different stake in it, in different questions, in different matters.
Okay, yeah, sounds very interesting. Okay, would you like to hear what I think about it?
Just let me add one thing, Stefan.
Someone else? Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't want to head over. Yeah,
in the case that it's owners or not owners, like I couldn't imagine a situation where a active member, non-owner, could still participate in the governing, providing that they contribute to the budget for that year. So I don't see an issue with them not being an owner, for example.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that has been clear. That has been clear since the beginning that members can be owners as well, no? And owners can also be members. It's not like a clear separation in that way. It's more like in an abstract way of the responsibilities and rights. So basically, as a member that is also an owner has the responsibility and rights of both worlds. But still, we need to distinguish what is if a person is only a member, or what if a person is only an owner? What can they participate in? What is interesting even for them? Maybe the group of the members, they want to decide about something that is super not important for the people that are only owners and not members. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, sure. And like I said, like Nick said, well, if a member who is not an owner wants to participate and contribute to infrastructure, road maintenance, whatever, and participate financially towards the budget, of course, but also it is like a difference between being an owner, because that member, the decisions does not have any greater impact on property that they are owning, because they are not an owner. But while it will have, it will impact the owners, who, the value or the opportunities of their share or their land will change, with the different decisions regarding roads, for example.
Yeah, it's a good example, and I agree with you. I think there is some overlap for sure. So if you like, we can go now into this a little bit, because I think it's very important. It's important to make exactly these decisions here about who should be a member and who not, who shouldn't, or who you don't want to have there. So what I believe is, trial members and also members, they decide on matters related to the daily life, the culture, and internal coordination of the community. So this is, I think, the most important thing here. While on the other side, the owners are primarily decide on matters related to property, legal responsibility, and long-term structural integrity of the project. You see the difference here? And would you agree with it, first of all, before I go further?
Yes, I think great wording, also very, very clear. And of course, examples and more details definitely needed, and especially it has to be like a project specific details, but this is very good. I approve.
Okay. Someone else wants to say something about it? Okay. So now here the question again. So what do you even want that, or no, I want to say it differently. Is an owner that is only an owner, yeah? Are they even interested in defining the daily life, the culture, and the internal coordination of the community? That's an open question. Maybe I'm wrong with this, but I have doubts, and I would like to know if you're there with me or not.
I think the owners that maybe live on the land, they have more chances to kind of, have decisions on the matters related to daily life, culture, internal coordination. It tends to be the, people that are more, I guess, active and online or in person. But yeah, I like that distinction. It was interesting to hear that Nick thinks that members should be responsible for the budget decisions and stuff like that. Or yeah, if we can do that separately for owners, not having to be members to be part of the budget decisions and yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think if we can make that distinction and say they're still gonna have decision making and they're still responsible to pay the budgets, and so members kind of focus on the daily life, like maybe if that includes things like the policies that I mentioned, like the, let's say, domestic animals or whatever other kind of, but that kind of does maybe tie in a little bit to the legal responsibility, not sure.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's a great point that you're kind of touching on, because the owners who are not members, I mean, why, if they are not members, then they kind of are not interested in the daily life culture, for like you mentioned, domesticated animal policy, for example. So if they want to be in on that, then they have to kind of align, and then they can be part of those decision-making processes too. And there's nothing stopping them really, except themselves. But someone who is an active member but not an owner, might contribute a lot, in these areas, and to build the community in accordance with the bylaws and the vision and everything, of course. And of course, it's very likely that someone who wants to be a member and is not an owner is looking to maybe become an owner, or at least be able to settle down somewhere on community land or something, so they should definitely have a say in all this.
Yeah, beautiful. That's really true, and I think it's really good to hear how you see these things. We can go into some examples on both sides. So I think on the community governance, it would be like community agreements, the values, behavioral guidelines, governance processes, consensus methods, decision protocols, etc. The use of shared spaces like kitchen, gardens, community areas, community activities, events, education initiatives, internal roles, responsibilities, working groups, conflict resolution processes, and social norms. So this sounds all like, okay, you should be anyways there. No, otherwise, if you're not there, it's not really interesting for you to participate in these decisions, or you might even make it harder for the people that live there if you, as a person that doesn't live there, interfere in these sort of decisions. That's my personal feeling, I want to say here. Okay. Then on the other side, ownership.
Can I just
want to say something? Yeah,
too much space here or time and talk too much, but I think this is a really good point, this that you mentioned, that people who are not really interested in kind of building the community, they often just interfere and kind of stop the constructive processes, and we have experienced this quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, I second that.
Sense so far.
Okay, then I will continue with the examples for the ownership. So some examples for owners would be to decide on land use changes and major infrastructure development, admission or removal of residents when it affects legal or property risk, financial obligations tied to the property, investments, major expenses, then also legal structure, contracts, external representation, risk management, liability, compliance, protection of assets, and so on, and strategic decisions that significantly impact the property's value or viability. Yeah. So also here, if you are only a member, is it interesting for you to participate in these decisions? Probably not, I guess.
Not really.
But yeah, as we already said, there is an overlap. There are some things that are critical mass, let's say, with things like building streets, that affects both, just as an example. So here are further examples for what else it could be. So it could be admission of new residents. Members assess social fit and alignment, and the owners assess the legal, financial, and risk implications. Then major use of land and shared spaces, for example, new projects, businesses, events. So the members would evaluate cultural and operational impact, while the owners evaluate property impact, liability, and long-term value. Then conflict cases that escalate beyond community processes. So members attempt resolutions through the governance at their place, and owners would try to intervene if there's a risk to the property, like legal standing or stability. Then also infrastructure. Here we are with the roads and water systems that were mentioned. These affect both the daily life and also the capital investment. And members use and maintain these systems, while owners maybe or both fund them and approve and carry also the risk. Yeah. So there's an overlap in these things. And yeah, now going quickly back, if no one wants to say anything to this, if yes, then just raise your hand or speak over me. So going back here, what we're deciding here is who do we want to be a member? So do they have to be only living for 3 months in the past 10 years, for example? Or do you want them to live there more longer to participate in exactly these decisions? Do you want them to even be able to participate in votings if they're not there, if they're only owners? So I want to raise all these questions to get some clarity. I don't want to push you in any direction. I don't want to interfere here, or I'm Switzerland and I'm trying to be as good as possible. But what I want for sure is bring in some clarity over all of this. So you can disagree in any stage, and I'm here to assist you with making the decisions and also with getting clarity. So, okay, is there anything anyone wants to say regarding this? Do you have a new perspective now on this, or do you want to still continue this way, which both is okay? We just need to find now a direction. And I had that thought that maybe showing you this Miro board might influence the direction we're taking here. That's why I felt it was so important.
Good points. We might want to reconsider the amount of time or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something else.
And I would say this with the amount of time, to me it feels like okay, because that's not like a single deciding factor. So to me, it seems fine with these 3 months. And that's not just because I am up until now and for the next year and a half at least, not very physically present there, but still like it means a lot to me. And I want to engage in these things. And that's the thing, like it's not just about having been there physically and then you can be a part of it and you know the decision processes and stuff, but you also have to actually be you know participating in meetings and not just kind of poking your head in to disagree and poop on everything, you know. So I think it doesn't risk becoming like unstable just because it's only 3 months presence required.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Very valid points. Someone else would like to add something? What about you, Nick?
Yeah. Look, for the physical presence, to me, it's not that important. What's if the person is participating in the meeting, participating, giving input, and even like contract someone to develop their lot. To me, that's enough. In terms of presence and participation, I think the presence, physical presence, is more for like a new applicant, a trial member who we don't know whether they're crazy, violent, or whatnot. Like it's mostly just kind of to vet. Damn it, keeps cutting.
Yeah, Nick, it was cutting out there right after this about if someone is violent.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, the physical presence is to vet out like someone who has trouble functioning with other people around. Oh, that's like more for like new applicants for trial members, but to maintain your membership, your active membership state, I think just like, being active online and having a contractor is enough for me.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. And Boris, you also agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the contribution in terms of financial can kind of be also valued, as we said in the next point, and then if they do the video watching, and then we need to be specific about how many like meetings or votes or something, like what we think makes sense. That could be valuable as well. Yeah.
Okay, good. So as I hear, we all want to leave this here, which is fine, the 10 years then, because the physical presence doesn't seem to be so important for all of you. That's fine. Okay, then I added here that might be difficult to understand because the listed, okay, this is the concern that I mentioned already, that it kind of contradicts with the 1 year that we mentioned here. But I think if we leave it like this, as I changed it now to like either the last 3 months, at least 3 months of non-sequential physical presence within the year that we're talking about here, or have stayed for 3 months for at least 3 months within the last 10 years. No, so everyone agrees then on that. As I hear out from what you were saying.
Yeah, or we might even be able to, if I don't know what people think, to increase it, let's say from the 3 to let's say 6 months within the last 10 years. So it's like, okay, that probably might have happened, but I don't know. That's just my idea thinking now.
Yeah, we'll add it now, and if someone says something against it, we can change it back. No problem. I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's okay with either 3 months or 6 months. We also have to remember that this is for active membership, like voting rights and stuff, things going on. And if someone is not an owner, but simply a member, or an owner and a member, is pretty easy to, exit them as a member if they start exhibiting like antisocial behavior. Is much more of a problem if they are actually an owner. Like you can't just kind of disown them, like kick them out when they are an owner. That's much more problematic. But with this
I think this discussion is about the owners currently. They would become members from this proposal, basically, and then from that point on, we would have a specific trial period. The trial can be either 3 or 6 months, whatever you guys think.
So yeah, let me explain quickly, because I think, Rob, you were not there, I think, last time, right? Were you, when we talked about this transitional membership pathway for current owners?
Yes. And it will be like they will be active members kind of automatically from the beginning. And then, they have a year to kind of fulfill the requirements. But yeah, we're talking about this with the accumulating at least 3 months or 6 months like a physical stay or development or something. And I think that is not such a big problem, because this is only about membership. It's not about ownership, which is much more kind of indefinite in its state, or it's, yeah. You understand what I'm getting to? Maybe I'm not very clear.
What you said last, I didn't understand completely. What do you mean with it's not it's in indefinite state?
Is very easy to bump someone down from active membership into exited member. So this, that they have to prove themselves for an extended period of time, might be less important actually than what we have experienced with owners who turn crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with owners, you cannot, as you say, you cannot kick them out. Yeah, exactly. So that's by law, it's just how it is, no? Because of how you regulate the buying process. So it's a legal purchase recognized by the government, no? So you cannot kick them out from anything, I guess. You cannot make them sell their land. But what we're talking about here is now the membership. You can indeed tell someone you're not an active member anymore. You're exited now because you're not following our rules. And we need these rules to ensure that the government participation contains only people that actively want to participate and follow the rules that we're setting. So in that space,
Exactly,
you can be,
my point.
yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly my point.
Yeah,
and that's why it's not like, oh, you have to be there for 2 years, you know, before we know if we can let you in as a member. You know, as long as they are behaving, they can be an active member. Doesn't matter if they have been there very long or not. But when they start misbehaving, they're basically automatically out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, I guess so. So you're voting for putting this back to 3 months or less even, or how do you understand?
No, I'm not like casting a hard vote on that. I'm just kind of bringing it up. Like it's not that critical, I think.
Okay.
So what do you other guys think?
That's the last question. So changing the amount of time for which part?
Yeah, the
Sorry, I
amount
didn't
of
understand.
time present to be able to be an active member.
For the transitional owner, like, or the or just in the future for like trial members.
Okay, I wasn't actually making a difference in my thinking now, but yeah. But I think for transitional of membership of the owners, it doesn't really matter. Like we all have to behave well, you know, and not be like antisocial and sabotage the processes or you know, trying and bullying or whatever, you know. So if they can't behave within those confines, then they are automatically kind of out anyways. But that's up to them, of course, you know, to behave according to the guidelines and
Yeah,
requirements.
Yeah.
that's fair.
But we're not talking about behavior at the moment. So is everyone okay with how it is now at the moment? Is this how it is?
3 months is just
This
fine,
sentence?
you know. It just means that someone has to have had some activity there, basically, to be a member, and that's a good requirement. And I think 3 months is enough because the people who are also like a problematic, maybe a lot of the time, they have 0, right? Because they haven't developed and they haven't been there, and you know, and but for all the owners who are interested and want to be there and be a membership, it doesn't really matter that much. And like I said,
would you be okay, Rob, with leaving it as it is at the moment and saying for now it's fine and we can review it in a few months?
Absolutely.
To get to the next.
That's my point. That's my point, that we can just leave it like this because we don't have to raise it or anything, because there are other kind of deciding requirements that they need to fulfill that are much more important also.
Perfect. Okay, then getting quickly back to this, did we have a solution to this? I think not. The representatives, it's can I close it? Or do you want to explicitly mention something about that the representative can be there for 3 months or 6 months? Okay, I think
I don't know
if no one
what Boris
objects, then
and
I
Nick
would just
say.
close it.
I think it should be the actual person, not just their representatives.
Okay. Okay, then shall I add it here to make it explicit? If there are no objections.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It just depends. I don't know. I guess Nick was okay with other people being there or whatever. I don't know.
I think that makes it more clear now. Non-sequential, physical, personal presence, not representative or not by a representative. Okay. Then I close this.
Yeah, and
then
to make this clear, we have to remove this about the 6 months and stuff. It's like a, yeah.
Why?
No, because it says accumulating at least 3 months of non-sequential physical personal presence, or have stayed for at least 6 months. Like a,
yeah.
Well, 3 months. If that's the minimum requirement, then the 6 months is completely redundant.
I know, but or have stayed for at least 6 months within the last 10 years.
Yeah, but within the last 10 years, this is
the 1 year, and this is for the last 10 years.
Oh, but it doesn't say for 1 year.
Yes, it does here.
Where?
They will have a period of 1 year,
No, but
365 days to fulfill the following specific requirements.
Yeah, but I mean, no, those are two different things. If you're gonna look at this like completely logically, yeah, 1 year, then okay, you have to stay 3 months
1 year
within the last year, or 6 months within the last 10 year.
Exactly.
What about the last? It's the following year. So
Yeah,
within the
you have to
year.
put it, this about 3 months, you have to put it in writing there within the last year.
Yeah, it might be
because
good
it is not.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Within the last.
Oh, I thought it was the following. The following year, basically.
Yeah, the specified time frame.
Maybe it's just too redundant. I don't know.
Yeah, it's redundant, but it's okay. Better explicit than not. It's fine. Okay, then here paying regularly for the community budgets, we throw this out because there's no regular payment. Is that true? So paying for the community budget for the last 3 years and the current year.
Usually it's yearly, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm just thinking like the word regularly almost sounds like it's not like a monthly payment. Usually it's once a year. I'm not sure, but maybe it's just the general point, like paying for the budgets for the last maybe 3 years, maybe more, and current year. That's a good addition, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and for the year in the specified time frame. Okay. So yeah, if everyone agrees there, I will just remove the color. Okay, then here for the last 3 years and continuing paying for the current year, exactly. Okay, I can close this. Then here need to be participating in community government actions, which means, yeah. So here, because we went into detail, so we want to specify here what is participation, and I took some time to think about this, and this is my proposal to you, and you can make it your own proposal and propose it also in a meeting to specify what participation in community governance even means. So making it measurable. So you can measure if someone is a participator in governance or not. And I think it's a very important point because being a member, an active member, means that you have the obligation to participate in governance. Otherwise, you would not be a member. If you are a member that doesn't want to participate in governance, you should just sign off and say, I want to be an exited member, because why would you do it? That's how I see it, at least. And so defining what the participation means makes it measurable. And you can also start an exit path of people if they are not participating, and so on. And also for this, what we're talking about here, you wanted to have it measurable because you want people in this year to participate. So what participation means could be the following. So you could split it out open into 3 core things. It could be responsiveness, it could be contribution, and it could be accountability. So talking about each of these 3 points, responsiveness means the member, here active member, must respond at least 50% of formal proposals. So this could be one proposal, for example, and you send it out to everyone via email, and you say, please get back to this within, let's say, 2 weeks. Yeah, and if you don't respond to 50% of all these proposals within a year, within a defined time frame, here in our case with this transitional member pathway would be exactly 1 year. Via approved communication channels. So it could be, for example, in meetings, physical, in email, or in Telegram. So the next thing would be contribution. So active members, again here, active members must contribute to at least 2 substantive, oh, my English today is horrible, sorry, discussions during the defined time frame. Also here, again, a year, by expressing perspectives, questions, agreements, or objections with reasoning. So there can be no objections that are not reasoned. Then accountability in cases of disagreement. Active members are expected to actively engage in follow-up dialogue. So via email or meetings, online or in person, to support the process of reaching consensus. So there must be the willingness to reach a consensus. You cannot just go against it. Additionally, no active member may remain inactive or no responses or engagement for a continuous period exceeding 60 days, for example. So all these numbers that make it measurable, like the 50%, the 2 discussions, or the exceeding 60 days, they're up to you. These are just examples that I put in there. I mean, everything is an example, and you can see it as a draft, and you can agree on that or change it, up to you. And I also added a sentence because I think it's important, just to make it really clear that voting alone does not constitute sufficient participation. Participation requires active engagement in the deliberation and consensus building process as defined above. So if you agree with all of this, we could, to make this shorter here, we could say, according to the definition of the participation in governance. And that's it. That's my idea, to have this, and then you can reuse this also for other places. So you can say a trial member in the process of becoming a member, an active member, they also need to participate in governance. So the time frame would be there, for example, 6 months. So in these 6 months, 50% of the formal proposals within the time frame need to be answered. They need to at least participate in 2 discussions, and they cannot remain inactive within 60 days. That's also reasonable. So, and you can also use it for other situations, because now you have this core definition of participation in governance. So yeah, let me know what you think about it, and if we should just reference it here. We can talk about these details, these measurable items that I talked about, and the general philosophy about it. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, so far I like it.
Yes, me too.
Cool. Nick, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still there. It's good.
What do you think?
I have an issue. My thing keeps cutting about every 15 seconds for like 5 to 10 seconds. So, yeah, maybe.
But you
No,
could follow.
I don't have disagreement so far.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, then I would just go for it and say here, let's check if it covers everything. Needs to participate in voting. We said join community meetings. That's also covered with this. If disagreeing with decisions, yeah, the solution by email and meetings in person. Yeah, it covers everything. Needs to be participating in community government actions, defined in the participation, in community government definition, right?
Governance is the word, right?
Governance. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, governance.
Yeah.
Sorry. Governance. Yeah, government is too much here. Okay, good. Then instead of this paragraph, we could refer to this definition. Here I wrote it also, definition of participation in governance. Okay. Awesome. Anything else you would like to add here, or do you think that's fine? So if someone needs to participate, someone needs to pay outstanding bills, someone needs to be there for at least amount of time, needs to watch this, needs to watch this, needs to watch this, and have one quiz. One question I had, I forgot to add a comment, was do you also want to add quizzes for all the other ones? Because it's also not measurable if someone just watched something, but it's measurable if someone participated in a quiz.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I think I mentioned it at one point, but yeah, like basically because this quiz, I think it was created by Peter, and I saved the form and I made it. So I guess we have to think about making a little quiz for each of these other ones. The last one about sociocracy, I didn't actually watch the whole thing. It was just like an idea. Well, we like that you're proposing the sociocracy, and I think that's kind of what consensus is. I don't remember, but yeah. So it's good to have those kinds of videos, and then quizzes to make sure that they were actually indeed watched.
Okay. Awesome.
I just wanted to say something also. I just realized it when I'm looking at this page now. This with the 3 months or 6 months within the last 10 years, and it cannot be by representative or development and stuff. This would mean that I would not, for example, be I could not be an active member now. So is that a good thing, or is that like something that needs to be changed in these requirements then? So this would be for Boris and Nick.
So
yeah, I thought I mentioned this. I thought I mentioned that that should be for new applicants, but for the current members, a representative and participation is good enough. No, didn't I say that?
Yeah, maybe you talked about that before, but the wording in the document now is different.
So my question to Rob then, so is it because the 6 months, so if it changes to 3 months in the last 10 years, would that qualify you?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind putting it at 3 months within the last 10 years if it makes sense to, like, yeah, because someone like you should be qualified. And I don't know who else, how other people are. I think most people haven't. I'm not sure. We'd have to kind of think. Yeah, I guess Nick is saying maybe this part doesn't even apply to the, to this transitional membership. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what's the point of having? Why not allow representation? Like, what's the point of having this personal, physical presence of the person?
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of what Stefan discussed, like if they're not around. But yeah, maybe this participation in the community governance, maybe that kind of covers, and then also paying for the community budgets. Maybe that's enough. But again, those, yeah, things we have to think about how we check those out. Like with the videos, yeah, we can have someone fill out a quiz and we'll see, and whatever we can review it. Whereas the paying of the budgets, it's kind of separated into these separate communities. But I guess they can tell us like, okay, this so and so paid and didn't pay, and then the participation we kind of have to also look at it ourselves. Yeah, good question.
Before, so just in case, so we don't forget, Nicholas mentioned something that was really good in the chat. He mentioned that adherence to the community vision, so something like staying vegan would be should be part of the requirements. I very much agree with that.
So
Yeah, it's just
in
hard to
that
measure.
case,
That's the only
it
issue.
would mean that someone who is then not vegan anymore, they could not be an active member then.
Yes.
There's also, okay, if we're talking about who can't be, I think Rob mentioned it a little few meetings ago or whatever, like a person that we've seen was violent against two other members or owners, I guess, at that point. So should we include, or is that a separate thing? Do we talk about who is, let's say, excluded from this transitional membership? So there is a current maybe one or more owners that maybe we don't even want to give this transitional membership.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's actually a point missing here, and it definitely includes adhering to the community guidelines and bylaws, or whatever they will be called.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the vision, the bylaws. Yeah.
Okay, you want to add that? And here, so did we all agree then on here 3 months instead of 6?
Well, basically, Nick says that we should. Oh, okay. Is Nick saying that it doesn't have to be physical? It can be representative, meaning like they can develop there a lot. But then, how do you measure like how much development? Like if they had one worker, two workers, or 1 week of work, or 1 month of like, it kind of it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know how to specify that. So almost maybe it seems like we don't even need this at all, but I don't know. I thought that 3 months within the last 10 years would kind of suffice.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that, then it
that doesn't matter, Boris. What matters is that they're participating in the governance and they are maintaining their lot, however much is they do. Like, let's say if they do 1 day every 3 months, and they cut back on the overgrowth, that should be good.
And I think Rob wanted to say something.
No, I don't know what that was now. But as it is now, with 3 months or 3 months, it's very redundant, and that sentence can be cut in half or something.
We don't even need the 3 months within the year, just within the last 10 years, or maybe. Well, it sounds like what Nick's proposing, that we don't even maybe care about this part at all, or do you mean? Oh, okay. You did say that they could maintain, but it just doesn't. It's not specified like how much maintenance, what kind of development, or.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
if you have,
what is the point of the physical presence? Like, I think it's important for new applicants, but if it's already a member, like, what is the point of their physical presence if they're maintaining and they're participating online?
Yeah, I guess I can think of at least maybe one person, or at least could that maybe it doesn't. But I don't know. It's hard to say for sure because there's so many people that I think most of them don't really do the whole participation part anyway. But
Yeah. I mean, what would be important for me personally, just to give another perspective here, would be that because it's about daily life decisions and decisions for, like, what do we have here in these examples? So daily life, culture, internal coordination of the community. So the question is, should someone be able to influence these things if they're not physically present at all? Does it matter for you or not? This would be a question I would ask.
well, if it was that people had to be physically present, then there would basically be almost no community and would never have been almost, you know. So, but participation, even if it's online, I think is valid.
Okay. Then it's like a hybrid physical and online community that you want to build, right? If I understand it right, just to understand.
I mean, the goal is to have more presence, of course, in the community, you know, on site, so to speak. But you know, it takes time to get there also for a lot of us owners. Like now, I'm actually starting to get close after all my kind of mishaps and stuff happening through life. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, so where are we going? Shall we kick it out then because it's not important for you?
No, but it is good to have some, you know, some presence, like developing your lot or, you know, doing these things. If nothing else, it for someone who wants to be a member, it will motivate them to at least maybe go there or have someone, you know, develop their lot, you know, for them and you know, kind of move things forward physically. So I think
yeah,
that's
those are two
not a bad
separate
thing.
things. That's good to think about the two slightly separate points, like the transitional membership. It's only for this proposal. We're allowing kind
Yeah.
of the owners to have this chance now. And then for the future, yeah, then we for sure want to have some physical presence, it sounds like.
Yeah, so but isn't that okay to have in here now then? Because in this first year they can easily have some physical presence by themselves or a representative developing their lot, you know, to kind of move forward in some way on their lot. So that's kind of okay to have there. You're right.
Might motivate people to come if they want to be maintaining their membership, since they're granted it kind of easier with this proposal.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to leave the meeting soon also.
Okay, then shall we say like it is good enough for now and can be reviewed in like 3-6 months, or is there something critical now that we should change? What do you?
Yeah, but the sentence is not like this. Does not make sense now. It's like a kind of
I run it through
repetition
quickly.
And stuff. It's like a
I will run it
non-sequential.
through AI.
Guys, remove the physical presence for the current members. Only keep it at representative and online participation, and only require physical presence for new for trial members. That's it. That's the simplest way. And review it in 6 months.
Yeah, then we can remove this completely. That would be the simplest solution for this.
No, but that's not what he said. He said
No?
like keep
Okay.
3 months of
Yeah.
a presence, either personal
Okay.
or like representative.
The representative would be important. Okay. Then physical. Then
Within the last 10 years. But there are basically 2 statements here in one sentence, and the 2 statements are almost the same but conflicting. So just kind of cut out the second half to begin with.
The 10 years is excessive. I don't understand the purpose of the 10 years point. Why 10 years?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it doesn't make sense. It can be there just to state that it doesn't have to be within the last year, for example. So to make it clear.
It's basically to give more time, like if someone's contributed, in this case, like you're saying, so maybe they've developed, maybe they've done stuff within the last 10 years or whatever, it might be even less that the property is owned, but I don't know what other number we can put. Last, I guess 10 year will be the anniversary of FH1 tomorrow, so.
Sorry, repeat that. What's the point of the 10 years, please?
Just to give more opportunity, because maybe in the last 5 years, maybe they didn't have that, or in the last 1 year didn't accumulate this 3 months. Maybe they only have, either visited or developed, let's say 1 month per year. And so then what would we do? Like the last 3 years, or what would you think makes sense?
Well, I think what makes sense is to have a contribution every year. So within the last year, you have to have a representative that did some sort of contribution on your land, be it 1 day or 3 months. Like, what difference does it make if they have some sort of contribution and they can document it?
So
that's
good. But
So
we need
let's just put
specifics
within the last 10 years then. But now we have this 6 months here again. I don't know why.
Sounds like maybe okay. So I want to understand Nick's point. So maybe Nick says that it can be minimum of 1 day in the last year. Okay, we need some specific numbers. We're not saying it's between 1 day and 10 days, or what is the minimum that we can accept? Is it minimum 1 day in the last year?
Okay, how about between that should be like, I think a week is a good amount to do something. Like, you can have a few workers or 1 worker even, and a lot can be done in that 1 week for that year.
Yeah.
Sounds like we could, anyway, I just want to understand what Nick is saying. So let's say minimum of 5 days in the last 365 of something.
Yeah, that's more real, like that's like, concrete. They're developing, they're inputting, and they're participating online, and then define what online participation is.
Yeah, that we have here.
Yeah, it's already defined in this particular proposal. I don't know if you could see that Stefan has written, and it has specific specific notes.
Yeah, because this does not differentiate between physical presence and online presence.
Yeah, feel free to change it here directly in the sentence. If you wanted to change it to 5 days, that's also fine.
But I mean, if we look at it like this, for example, to
5 days within the last year is what Nick suggests. Well, okay, maybe we can put all the notes and then we can think about it. And discuss in the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say
Okay.
if it's a representation, it would cost them, let's say like $125. It would cost them for that year. If it's a representative, a worker.
Yeah, but then I would rather have more presence than just 5 days, and you know, in the last 3 years, for example, and that can all then be done in 1 year if you want, but you know, to kind of.
Well, ideally, I would opt for five days every 3 months, or at worst 6 months.
Yeah. So then maybe we should say like a 10 days or 15 days in the last year, for example. To have like a number. I mean, it seems a bit weird to have this weird kind of artificial number, but also we can just come up with a number that also makes sense in practice, and then it's okay, you know.
Yeah, it's
So-
not an arbitrary number that I'm taking. I'm taking 3 months
Yeah.
because it takes 3 months for things to overgrow and get kind of out of control. So maintenance needs to be at least 1 week every 3 months. And the worst I've seen, like where it's still kind of manageable, is 6 months.
Yeah. So like if we say 6 months, then it would be 10 days, or we can say 2 weeks in the last year.
Yeah, I think 5 days, like a week of work every 6 months, is like really the bare minimum. Like you're kind of like, you
Yeah.
know, that's like the bare minimum. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe Boris.
also, it depends also on how large part of your lot you have developed, for example.
Depends on how many fruit trees and what kind of weeds are
Exactly.
growing. And but yeah, generally it's a good metric to say like 3 months should be a week of work to maintain. If it's 6 months, it might at that point take 2 weeks potentially to maintain.
But
Yeah,
for
I would say
example,
keep it simple, guys. Don't go too much into details here, and keep in mind the context of that this is just a temporary thing for 1 year.
Right. So this is yeah, it's just interesting to hear Nick's perspective. So he's thinking basically as long as they're maintaining their lot at some kind of bare minimum. So it could be what in the last year, could be 30 day, I don't know, whatever, or maybe less than that actually would be, let's see, 369. So at least like 15 days of maintenance. But yeah, that does get kind of complicated. So I mean, could say 1 month in the last year at that point or something like that. Or maybe similar to the budget where it's in the last 3 years. So okay, if they contributed to the budget in the last 3 years and they've also maintained their lot somewhat, let's say, or something like that, that could be something to think about.
Take
But
sorry, just to make it simpler, make a specific point here for maintenance of the lot. I think there are two different things. So first, the presence can be physically or represented. Then we can remove the represented because this means only, like as far as I understood, the only thing that is important for you here with the represented is that it maintains the lot, that they maintain the lot, right? So you can say how much do they need to be here, and how much maintenance do they need to make in this year.
Let's discuss this in the chat. Like we throw some ideas in writing and bounce it back and forth instead of wasting the time here.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Yeah. So ideas are welcome in the chat. Write something, let AI write it for you if you prefer, and then propose it next time. That's a good point. Yeah, shall we do it like this?
Yeah. Sure. Is
Awesome.
it okay?
Okay.
Okay, now I won't have so much time, but oh, this is not working.
And then, yeah, we'll carefully drag this through. Yeah, good like this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, guys, I
Okay.
really have to go
Yeah,
now.
pylons.
You have a nice evening, and yeah, I hope I can join for the next meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks
Have a
for
good
Thank
day.
you
joining.
for
See you.
participation.
Thank you, guys.
Do you guys want to continue or table this for now?
Yeah, I have a bit more time if you want to. If not, we can postpone it to next time. It's fine for me too.
I'm having connection issues, so like I'm not that helpful.
Yeah, I see. Well, we could keep working on it a little bit at a time and see what's next week's agenda.
Yeah. Sorry, you mean we work a little bit more, or you want to stop now and talk about next week?
Yeah, let's see. We could try to finalize some things. Let's see. So I guess Nick doesn't hear us that well, but
Yeah. What we
we
could
can.
do is this here, filling this out.
Oh, okay.
If you want, if you have time, if you want to spend more time, it's okay. Don't feel pressured. If you want, we can also fill in these two. I think we just need to put in some thought. I guess it's not so complicated. If you want, just an
I
offer.
think that yeah, I want to see if we can complete the what is it, transitional one, because I want to see how do we make sure that the people, let's say, don't adhere to the bylaws, they kind of move into the exited or external, so that would be important. So adhere, and then if any of those are not met by the end of the period, what is it called? 1 year, basically.
Add it up here. I think that's not part of the process, no? I think you want to say if it's not met, then the exit path starts, and you can mention that exactly here, no? In the top.
Well, I think it should also be mentioned here. Oh, okay, at the top. Yeah, there you go. You're right.
Yeah, because it's not part of the process. It's like an overall thing. If you don't follow the process, what happens? Yeah, okay.
Maybe we'll put all that in see how we come up with the proposal. That's kind of the important part. Yeah, and then how do we see, yeah, what are the bylaws that can be broken? Put the link there, so let's click it. What, anyway, okay, so that's kind of what I was thinking, just to finalize. But yeah, we could still continue next week. I guess this will be still something to finish for next week.
Okay.
And,
yeah, what I would do probably is taking this out into a separate proposal.
mhm.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think
Maybe
we
easier
might,
to agree upon, or not?
but I think it will become one proposal that will say, look, we're just defining things, and then we notice that kind of there are no members, so there's the membership states, and then we propose this at the same time. That's kind of what I was thinking. So it's going to be easier to swallow, like, okay, yeah, that looks cool, we become members. And yeah, I don't know, that's my thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so cutting it in two, but proposing both at the same time? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like, well, we're defining some things, and we discover that kind of owners and members are separate things. There's the yeah, so that's basically what I think would make it easier to kind of accept. Like, if somebody doesn't accept it, I guess they just don't want to be a member. Then
Yeah.
in that case, we could just say, well, that's
Right.
fine, you're not a member. Then we move on.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. This we didn't talk about at all. The definition of responsibilities of owners are legal stewards of the property and hold shared responsibility for its long-term integrity. They are expected to collaborate in land use planning, contribute proportionally to agreed expenses, and avoid actions that create material nuisances or conflicts.
I would say the owners, non-member owners, have a tax, a yearly tax that's imposed on them for maintaining infrastructure.
So they're not members, but are owners. We don't have such a role anymore because we realized that ownership is like an attribute.
It's a responsibility. So, like, let's say you have a inactive member, and they're an owner, right? So, like, they're not participating in the governance. They don't have voting. They're not kind of, they don't have the active member responsibilities, but they still should have minimum responsibilities for the use of infrastructure that is here, such as roads and water systems, right? So, for example, like like they're using vehicles to go to their lots, right? And that damages the road, so that there's a tax to pay for that, or else the access needs to be blocked.
Yeah, they're still expected to maintain and pay for the budgets.
Certain budgets. So, for example, like there's like minimum road tax and minimum water systems tax, like things that are sort of indispensable to live on a title. And so, for example, like a road access, like we cannot block their them physically from walking to their lot, but for example, we can block a vehicle access. That one we don't have to provide.
Not legal? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, legally, because look, somebody's driving on your roads, like you can charge a toll. You can charge a toll, or they pay maintenance every year, like a tax. You don't have to let vehicles through.
Yeah, it makes sense to make like a more minimal budget for people that are maybe not participating members or active members or whatever, and maybe some people that don't maybe even use any of these roads and they're just trying to sell.
Yeah, their workers would be using the roads, for example. Like, for example, if they have, if they're not there, but they hired someone to go do stuff at their lot, their workers are going to take a motorbike or quad to their lot.
Good point, but it's some people don't even develop, they're just waiting to sell and that's it.
Yeah, they can't even sell right now the way things are. It's like you cannot sell without the community's help at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess yeah, makes sense that they would be obligated at least. But what was this? Oh, responsibilities. Yeah, so basically to pay, let's say, the minimum budget, and then maybe members would have some additional kind of budgets. Well, we're almost at 2, so let's adjourn this for now and continue another day. So Thursday once again. You might have your microphone muted, Stefan. I'm not sure.
Yes, I was muted. Sorry. So that's why no one answered my question here. If you would like to add something here, but we can discuss this next week, I said then, and which is totally fine. And yeah, we will talk then about these two proposals that hopefully someone or hopefully all of you will send in the chat. We can talk through them, find a common ground, add them here, talk about these few more fields. I think that's not too much, not too complicated. Also these two. And then our first proposal, actually the second proposal would be already done. We didn't check this today. Maybe we can do this now quickly before we end the meeting. Sold ownership ended, exited, and left or unrelated external.
Interesting point, because if we're separating the two, if somebody sells, it might not necessarily mean that they've exited
Yeah.
the membership, because they could maybe possibly remain a member if they'd like.
Okay. Yeah, I will remove this because only that makes sense. So exited, left at their own will, or unrelated external. That makes sense, no? So
I
either
don't
they
understand
were
what you mean by unrelated.
and unrelated means like nothing to do with the member with Fruithaven. So I am unrelated, basically. I'm maybe now facilitating, but I have nothing to do. I'm not a member. I'm not an applicant. I'm not a trial member. I'm not an owner. I'm basically external. So I'm just describing here what external or exited means. It means like I was a member and I was exited. I left at my own will because I was a member, or I've never been a member and I've always been external. That's what I want to describe here. That's
Okay.
what it means, no?
Maybe it might be a little bit redundant there and confusing. So I think external is sufficient.
Yeah, it just explains what this means, no? You mean here or external? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just mean like the word unrelated could be a
Okay.
source of confusion.
I understand. Yeah, yeah. Let's keep it simple like this. That's fine. Okay, good. Awesome, guys. Really good. Also happy that we talked about this and this part here, the definition of participation, and that you agree with this. I think that's a very very important core thing to define this and make it measurable. So also
Yeah,
really
let's
good
copy paste
progress on
this
that.
in the chat to bounce some ideas. Maybe somebody might contribute something in the chat, and we get some ideas for the next meeting. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. Bounce it in. Feel free to copy paste it or take a screenshot and share it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Boris. I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you
Let's
too.
see next week or whenever Thursday.
Perfect. See you there.
Cheers.
Bye.